fundamentals of a good offset sequence and paddling a stagger well is having a good understanding of your transition points so that you can keep the boat moving in the direction that you want to be going at all times. And that means when you're looking at the offset sequence, you're not just paddling the gates, because if you paddle the gates, you just get later and later and later through the sequence. So what you need to do when you're looking at your offset sequence is try and find those points where you can paddle the window from one gate to the point you need to turn for the next gate, which means not always paddling the gates. It's looking at the currents, seeing where the cross currents are, where the waves are, so that if you're going from gate 1 to 2, and then you got to go to 3, maybe the best way to go is to set up gate 1 so you're turning halfway between gate 1 and 2. So you get a good cross, good powerful driving strokes across to gate 3. And I think you need to have a really open mind when you're doing offsets, because there's so many ways to do it. You can do it on a sweep stroke, on a draw stroke, forward strokes the whole way through. But if your line is set up perfectly, that means the boat is always moving with the stern following the bow, which is the fastest way to move the boat.
The idea for is it the same with the ski, you know, not, but all the time, the same with the snake, you know. And with the short boat, many guys the boat's not the same snake, but he's turned too much.
I have a similarity there with the downhill skiing. So the fact is even there that you have to have the speed on the last gate. So you have to ensure that you be good on the first, and on the second and the third gate, and on the fourth gate you have to have the speed to go away, because the problem always occurs on the last downstream gates.
Every time I'm thinking to have the boat very light and to be very neutral when I move in the direction, maybe right, maybe left. I try to be very neutral on my back. I try to feeling the back, and I try to put the back every time out of the water.
You know, when I was young, I was till 21 or I was always making, you know, shh like this, and it was not very fast. Now I try to focus on always paddling in the gates, always to be always paddling, and to have my torso, my torso very vertical, you know, and not like this or this. I try to do this.
I think you have to have a lot of space to really push your boat forward, and your front should be always down. And I think it's good if you go in the middle of the gates, don't cut any lines, and if you have room for paddling, not avoiding, I think this is quite good.
In offsets, I really try and focus on staying early and never feeling rushed. Like I always want to, if I'm early, I feel like I'm in control in the river's not pushing me anywhere. I can push the boat where I need to be. So it really always starts with the first offset. If I see offsets in a full-length course, I'll spend most of my time looking at the first one.
Yeah, well, the important thing for an offset gate is to prepare it. That means not being too late in the offset, like preparing it and turning before the gate and making a lot of speed through the gate.
Be prepared early. That's one of my 5 golden rules. It's just like if you stuff up the first gate, you're screwed. And so to set up a stagger or an offset combination, I felt really confident in just preparing everything. The earlier the better. Just make some room with the first gate, and then you're better off with the last ones.
It becomes important to look at an offset sequence and decide where the biggest turn has the most value to you, which means sometimes in a stagger sequence, maybe one gate requires a really big turn, and you need to make a choice based on the water that you have available, whether you're going to do a big pivot turn and stay direct or spin. And it's really important in those situations, because oftentimes the choice can be in a set of 3 or 4 staggers, which gate do I actually do the big turn on? And that's where you got to look at the water and really make a decision so that you can do the maximum turn where it costs you the least amount of time, and then get back on track and do that fundamental good offset stagger sequence paddling where you're driving the boat through the rest of the gates.